This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Talk News TV with Herman Tio Laurel. We have two parts. First will be, as we often do, discussing with a Filipino student who just returned home from Beijing after a year of studies there and moving on to Singapore. And that's why our episode, or this portion, is entitled The Global Filipino Student. We'll be discussing with Ms. Jean Ong, who's taking up management, but we'll go into that a bit later on. We received from our YouTube, because we put up these shows on YouTube, an inquiry from Juan Torres. Sabi niya, what can you say about the Chinese who are raping the sea of endangered species and the bullying that they are doing to our soldiers to grab our islands by force because they know that we do not have the fighting chance militarily, and so on and so forth. Second question about Grace Po. Originally, sabi nitong si Mr. Juan Torres, whose communications I appreciate very much, she is a natural-born citizen of the Philippines because she was born in the Philippines and not the USA, and mahaba pa ito, but we'll just clarify these 2 points very briefly. Over the past, I replied to Mr. Torres first to read through the Boston Globe study on the South China Sea issue. Maybe we'll give you the detail of the title later on. But there are 10 pages of incidences from 1970s to the present of the conflicts between Vietnam, Philippines, and China on these islands. No? And during that period where China was not yet focused on the China Sea, there were many instances of Vietnamese and Philippine tensions, and then arrests of Philippine Navy, Coast Guard, and so on, of Chinese fishermen, and so on. The point is, while these are conflicting claims, these misunderstandings will go on. And the issue of bullying, well, the Vietnamese took over Phuket Island, both by stealth and by force. Phuket Island, several decades ago, was occupied by Philippine forces, Philippine troops, but maybe through stealth or some other, we do not completely understand, the Philippine troops were waylaid into a party in another island. And reportedly, the Vietnamese were spreading the rumor that there will be going to be chicks there in the party and so on. So the whole Philippine troops, Philippine troops went over. By the time they came back in the morning to Phuket Island, the Vietnamese had already installed their machine guns and so on, and our forces could not come back. And of course, we can recall how the most recent bloody incident in disputed areas came about when a Taiwanese fisherman was shot 2 years ago by Philippine Coast Guard. So final point here is there will continue to be a lot of misunderstanding and misreading of intentions and so on, so long as there is no dialogue, which is what I think is the problem in our present relation with China on this issue. The second point about Grace Po's citizenship status, it is very important for people not to be overtaken by emotions here, because there are legal questions. And by their own admission, the camp of Po has said she is a foundling. A foundling is not automatically a natural-born citizen because you don't know. If we are basing our citizenship rights on jus sanguinis, by blood, you have to establish that to conform to the constitutional requirement. How can a foundling be verified as to the nature of her citizenship? A regular citizenship, which could be naturalized, or a natural born. Later on, we'll have a discussion with our attorney who has studied this also, and we can also bring that up. Because our second part is about the COMELEC and the problems with the COMELEC voting machines and voting system. So now we have a very pretty lady, a very pretty person, Ms. Jin Ong, who just returned from Peking University just a day or two ago.
Yes.
So, Jean, you are a former student of Assumption, and right after Assumption?
I went to Ateneo de Manila, yes.
And then 4 years of Ateneo?
4 years of Ateneo for my undergraduate, and then after that I worked in a telecommunication company here in the Philippines.
Okay.
Then went for my MBA.
So why China? Or why this program?
Okay. Because I really wanted to learn about Asia. So I chose this program because it's like the best of both worlds. It's a double degree MBA program between Peking University and National University of Singapore. So the nice thing about it is I get to learn about China, which is very important if you want to learn about Asia. And at the same time, Singapore, I get to study there, and which is like the central hub of everything here in Asia.
Okay, Singapore is the central hub.
Yes.
So 1 year in Beijing now?
Yes, 1 year in Beijing, which I just finished, and then another year in Singapore.
And your instruction in Beijing was in English,
It
as you were
was in
saying.
English, yes.
But you studied extra subjects for Chinese.
Yes, yes, I took up
So
Chinese.
I asked you before we started the show whether you spoke in Fujian or Hokkien, and you said no.
No, Mandarin, which I
Mandarin.
learned in Beijing.
Okay, your father is full-blooded
Yes, he's full-blooded Chinese.
Does your elder brother learn, did he learn a little Hokkien? Hindi rin.
No rin. But he didn't. But he
didn't.
studied in a Chinese school.
Okay.
Yes.
Xavier siya?
Yes, Xavier.
Sa Xavier may Mandarin eh.
May Mandarin
Did he
done.
pick up any Mandarin?
He knows like very basic
So
Mandarin.
you speak better Mandarin now than your elder brother?
We'll see, hopefully.
You haven't discussed with him
No,
yet?
not yet.
Okay, so you see a career in business.
Yeah.
We were just commenting earlier that the Chinese stock market is in a in a crisis now.
Yes,
What are your impressions?
Well, it actually started around 3 weeks ago. The stock market there was very amazing because even the street vendors would go into stocks, and then in class, I would see my classmates. Their laptops are all open, the guys, and then all stocks yung screen nila because it was really going up. They were earning a lot from it. But then eventually things like that, it will eventually crash, like it's a bubble talaga.
That's right. Well, the old saying goes that when the taxi driver already advises you what stocks to buy, that is the time the crash will come.
Yes,
diba?
exactly.
In fact, my son, who has been my youngest, who just graduated a year ago from LaSalle and now working teaching English to Chinese by internet. So it's a small world really now. And he asked me, Pa, my classmate is now in the mutual funds and he's asking me to invest and so on. So because you study the stocks that the mutual fund is investing in and so on. And so he didn't go in. And after 3 weeks, this has come about. And so I said, you see, you have to study in.
Yes.
And I was repeating that adage nga, that when the taxi driver is already telling you about his investments, then it's about ready to crash. And this has come. My point now is because I've always been suspicious of the stock market. I don't believe it really reflects the real economy. And in Chinese, they say when you enter the stock market, "Wak ko pyo." Wak means gamble.
Yes.
The stock market is really a gambling casino.
Yes, it is.
With pinstripe suited, di ba?
True, that's true.
Brokers instead of baccarat dealers and so on. What? As a business student, what do you think?
Well, for me, I actually believe in controlling my own money.
Yeah.
So I don't invest in stocks, but that's just me personally because I want to be the one to control my own money, like
That's right,
business
that's
and
right.
all.
That's right,
Yes.
And I think China yielded to the demand of the Western financial gurus to open the stock market, because essentially the Chinese system does not really believe in that. No? The old socialist
yes,
system.
the old
It
system.
may be changing. Is it real? Is China capitalist now? What do you think?
That one, well, I think that in China it's more of like, it depends on the generation, really. So the
Yeah.
younger generation are like, their way of thinking is totally different compared to the older generation. They're more
Professors
modern.
naman.
Yes.
Yung professors mo sa business.
Oh, my professors, all of them have educations abroad.
Okay.
So that's the requirement in Peking University.
Ah,
They must
okay.
have a Western education.
So PhDs lahat yan?
Yes, PhDs lahat. They got their master's PhDs from abroad, reputable schools abroad. Yeah.
And they're capitalist oriented already?
They're actually very yes, they're very open-minded about everything. So it's pretty good.
I'll just ask one more question, and then I'll be asking you to just say what you want to tell our audience. They describe the Chinese economy as a socialist market system. Is that correct? You never came across that?
I never came across that one.
Because the authorities still claim it's a socialist, basically socialist state. Is that correct?
Well, a lot of the companies that are owned by the state,
Still,
owned by the state-owned enterprises. A lot of my classmates actually still work in state-owned enterprises. Yeah.
Would you say the majority of the industries are still state-owned? And if there are private but strategic and huge corporations, the government always has a stake in it too, right?
Yes, the government has a stake in it. Companies usually have to comply. I think that's also the problem, the challenges that the multinational companies have, because they have to comply with the government regulations and everything. I mean, just like Google, they didn't want to comply, hence they can't operate in China. I mean, they have their sales there, but it's like blocked there already.
Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges there.
So what, now I was going to tell you to just tell us what else you have lined up to tell us.
Oh, okay. So, well, in China, I learned actually a lot of things there. So, number one, China market, it's very, very huge. It's massive. You cannot treat China as one country. Different behaviors, like the northern, the southern, they have different behaviors. People from Shanghai, they're more extravagant lifestyle, while people from Guangzhou are more practical. So, it's really more of the cities, so you can't do things like treat China as a whole. It's really based on their territory. Number two, transportation there is very advanced. That's what I appreciated about it. Fast trains. Going to different provinces, it's very easy, convenient. They have their bullet trains, they have everything. And then even the subway system in cities alone, it's very convenient. Considering that there are millions of people living in a city,
Sa rush hour, may siksikan din at tulakan.
May siksikan, but it's not as bad as the MRT here. Yeah, so it's still very organized and it's safe. And then what I'm impressed about there is also the technology. It's very advanced. So when I went to this mountain, Huashan, it's like 4,000 meters above, and then they had internet, they had 4G, and it was full bar, very fast internet. And that's on top of a mountain. So small things like that.
I understand, magpo-4G na ang entire China soon.
Yeah. Even in the remote provinces, actually, they already have very fast internet. And I think that's very important. Transportation, interconnectivity. If you want your country to succeed, that's a very important aspect that
I think, just to point out, if you have farmers accessing information sa weather, fertilizer, quality, and so on. Napakalaking tulong yun sa productivity.
Laking tulong talaga. Very.
Dito, nasa gitna ako ng Pasig. Hirap na hirap pa ako minsan sa internet. Anyway, back to your fourth item. You have 3 now.
Yeah, so the fourth item, aside from technology, they have a lot of galing eh, like super advanced. So I had a speaker from Baidu, which is kind of like the Google of China. They created this thing. It's called blind search. So it's this machine for blind people to
really?
do Google's like to search for things.
Paano yan ginagawa? By
Based on
vocal,
the,
instruction?
yeah, so they can type based on
May
the
braille siya.
braille,
May
and then
braille siya.
meron lumalabas, so they can imagine how it looks like and everything. They can feel it. It's really amazing. And
Okay, for
a
items
lot.
yan, meron pa ba?
Yeah, so transportation, technology, China is massive. And then the other one is the people there. China's actually, there's a lot of misconceptions about China. So a lot of people, when I moved to China, they were like, why China? It's very dirty there. In fact, it's actually clean. Aside from the air pollution, the roads are clean. It's very organized. People are actually friendly. They're very into harmony. So it's
Well,
a
ang
different
naalala
place.
nila yung pictures of Shanghai in 1910,
The
1912.
old, yes, wala pang buildings nun
That's right.
and everything, yeah. So,
Well, the first time I was there in 1984, you were not yet born. They were just beginning to modernize.
yes.
So I went to Shanghai, and you've been to Shanghai?
Yes, I've been to Shanghai.
Anong mga pangalan ng mga department stores doon? Mga pangalan na, may mga pangalan.
May mga
Soho,
oo,
ganyan.
may mga ganun na, yes.
Kasi when I was there in 84, they just have Shanghai Department Store number 1, Shanghai Department Store number 2, Shanghai Department Store number 3.
Yeah.
But now it's totally different.
True, and a lot of the international expensive brands are actually there already in China, even in the
That's right.
provinces that I went to.
You've walked, what's that?
Great to walk.
Hindi, dito sa Shanghai, yung famous boulevard.
Oh, the Bund.
The Bund,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I did.
And the Peace Hotel, have you gone into the old style?
I haven't been
I
there.
went in there and bought my train ticket back to Emeng, Xiamen.
Oh, Xiamen.
And of course, when I was there in 84, I took the hard seat.
Oh,
Wood.
yeah, the hard seat, yes.
They don't have it
They
anymore
don't,
now.
hindi na hard seat yung hard seat nila.
May kutsyon
May
na.
kutsyon na, yes.
Nakakahiga na ba?
Meron, yeah, you can make higa.
Even in the
meron
hard
din.
seat? They can-
Not in the hard seat, but they have sleepers also.
So you've taken the hard seat, you've
I've
taken the
taken
fast
hard seat,
train.
I've taken the fast train.
What about the
sleepers? I tried the sleepers
The sleepers,
also.
but what do they call the
the
super fast?
the bullet train?
The bullet
Yes,
train?
in Shanghai I did.
Yung
Maglev.
Maglev,
Yes.
Maglev. So you took that
Yes, I
also?
took that in Shanghai.
Cost of transportation.
Cost of transportation, it's actually quite cheap. Before Beijing, anywhere you go, it's 2 RMB, which is about 14 pesos.
14
but
pesos.
now they increased it.
Sa
so
subway train, ganyan
subway
din?
train, yeah, that's a subway
14
train.
pesos.
14 pesos. But
Kahit na anong haba?
kahit anong haba. But recently, they raised it up, and then, so it's around 5 RMB, so that's around 30 pesos, which isn't bad. That's not bad at all.
Okay. Electricity. Do you know how cost of electricity?
Electricity,
Or dahil nasa dorm ka,
okay.
hindi
I don't
ka
know the
na-charge?
cost of electricity, but everything there is prepaid. Electricity and water, they're all prepaid.
So you have to pay first.
My
Prepaid?
dormitory, it comes with electricity and
okay.
water, yes.
And
heating system there, it's actually subsidized by the government. So there's this, they call it the Huai River in China, which divides China into upper and the lower. So everything above that river is subsidized by government yung heating system, which is very good.
What is the logic of that? I was just thinking that yung higher
Colder, yeah.
colder
It's-
areas, kasi hydroelectric, you generate electricity as the water comes down.
It's more of like, yun lang yung division nila.
Oh.
So everything up there, it's centralized.
Okay,
But they still use
Food.
coal. Food is cheap, but I'm kind of wary also of where I have to be wary of where I eat because it's still China. So
Okay.
I usually eat in mga restaurants. They have ratings naman.
Okay.
All restaurants are required to have ratings.
Okay.
Yeah, street food, a bit wary about that, but I did try.
Okay, so yung iyong specialization, marketing your area of interest,
Yes.
what can the Philippines market in China?
Philippines market.
What goods and products?
A lot of the bananas that I've been
Of
eating
course, yeah,
is
that's-
from the Philippines. Yeah, I think a good opportunity would also be like coconuts and most of our
Anong coconut
agriculture.
products ang nakita mo ron?
Mahal yung, I don't know where it's from, pero mahal yung coconuts
Yung
nila
buko?
doon. One buko is like 30 RMB.
So,
That's, here mga parang 20 to 30 pesos isa doon. So 30 RMB isa.
30 RMB is
It's around 3,600
100
times
plus?
700, 200 plus.
200 plus. Oh.
Yeah.
It's probably from Hainan, di ba?
Could be.
Probably from Hainan.
Could be.
But I think there is great potential for coconut products there. Alam mo naman, Chinese people are so health conscious, di ba?
They are very
Oo,
health
so-
conscious.
Anyway, that's one of the things that I am planning for the future business also with China. And coconut is one. Any other thing that we can, aside from bananas,
It's really, I think, mostly agricultural talaga.
food products and
yes,
so
food
on.
products, yes.
and
And-
what can we benefit from China here in the Philippines?
Here from China, a lot. China has a lot of technology that we can use in terms of manufacturing, everything. We can benefit a lot from that. I also met some people. They're like Americans there in this Wharton program that I attended. They have a business, and apparently a lot of their teachers are from the Philippines. Like the one that you were telling me, via
That's right.
internet.
Oh.
So that's also another nice thing.
Yeah, teaching English is one.
Teaching
no?
English,
Teaching,
or even outsourcing to the the English things in the
Okay.
Philippines. That's-
So we have 4 minutes, 4 minutes in our segment, and as
Yes.
you see, we've been moving very fast. No? What did I miss out? What did you miss out? What else we have to? Discrimination. With this tension over the China Sea issues, do you feel any repercussions then?
To be honest, I never felt any discrimination, any form of discrimination. My teachers, my professors, my classmates, they were all very nice. Even the people, the locals that I met there, they knew I'm from the Philippines, but never felt discrimination.
Is it a big issue there? Itong issue ng China Sea, West Philippine
I
Sea?
hear it once in a while, and it comes out in the Chinese news.
Anong sinusundan mo sa Chinese newspapers?
Because the news are in Chinese, so I just hear about it from my Chinese classmates.
But
They
there's
tell me
China
about it.
Daily, People's
China
Daily. Do you
Daily, yeah,
read them?
China Daily. I do. I read them from time to time since it's scattered around their school. Yeah.
Okay, so no discrimination.
Not at all.
Yung Filipino community niyo, you have a Filipino Friendship
Yes.
Society.
We have a Filipino-Chinese
And
Friendship
you're an
Club.
officer there,
Yes,
right?
I'm an external vice president there. And so we have different activities with other ASEAN countries as well. And we have dialogue projects, and it's pretty good.
Okay, and do you have to leave your post now as external vice president?
Yes,
since
I
you're
do,
leaving?
since I'm going to
Ganyan.
Singapore. So I think they're going to have new elections again for this
Okay.
coming semester.
So every year yung election ng
Yes, they do.
Philippine-China Friendship
Club.
Club,
Yes.
okay.
So we're around 90 now.
Okay.
That's the whole China.
And you've met everyone there?
I haven't met everyone there, but we have a WeChat group, so all the Filipinos are there, and that's how we keep
How's
in
our
touch.
embassy serving our community there?
The embassy is doing pretty good. They hold events like during Independence Day. They threw a party for the Filipinos, and every holiday they do.
Okay.
And there was an ASEAN event recently hosted by the Royal Embassy of Cambodia. Our ambassador actually went, and she was there. She stayed throughout the event, which we appreciate.
Okay. How many students from the Philippines now in China? Do you have data on this?
Based on our group, it's around more than 90 already, almost 100 in
Yun
China.
lang ah.
Konti nga lang eh. Kasi
konti
like the other countries, mga 100 sila. Pero in Beijing alone. Tapos
Oo.
ito like in the whole China. We haven't met the others yet.
What about Filipinos and Filipinos working in China? Have you met
I
them?
met some of them who are working there.
As
and
professionals mainly,
as
no?
professionals, yes. Professionals, some of them are singers.
Yun,
Yeah, iba-iba talaga.
Oo,
Yes.
okay. So, after this discussion, what else does our audience have to learn from you and your experience in China?
I think I guess I would like to tell the audience to like keep an open mind. China, there's a lot of misconceptions about China, and just want to let them know that it's not really like that. Like it's very nice, it's beautiful, it's very advanced. There's a lot of things to learn. So if they just travel, don't be scared. It's really safe there.
Okay, maraming
Yes.
salamat,
Thank you so much
Jean,
for having me. Yes,
and
yeah.
more success in Singapore.
Yes.
And when you come back from Singapore, visit us again and
I
tell us
will.
about Singapore. naman.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for
salamat.
having
and
me.
you can stick around and
Yes,
listen
I
to
will.
Attorney Manny Luna
I would
discuss
love
the
to.
COMELEC issues.
Yes.
So, hang on, Attorney Manny Luna will follow.
Thank you.